Welcome back to DraemondDoesGaming. Draemond here playing some more Heroes of Might and Magic 3. One big difference in this video is that we're going to be doing an overview of a faction. And that's the brand new Bulwark Faction that they released on New Year's, which is pretty darn cool. The Bulwark Faction, to my knowledge, has a Norse vibe to it, with Jotun, mountain goats, yetis, things like that, mammoths, and all that. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what the faction is, what I think about it, the unit's powers and things before eventually we'll get into a game. I don't know if we'll actually get to play as them right away or not, so we'll find out. So this is the town, and also you can tell from the music they have a new track in here, and I like it. It's nice. I think it suits the game, which is good. It doesn't do anything crazy like coves or factories, right? Yeah, it's just nice. Okay, so let's take a look at the factions here. We have two different types of heroes. We have chieftains and we have elders. Elders are the magic users. They have no attack but high knowledge, and this faction is really big into defense. So the 4 defense here. We'll take a look at all the heroes afterwards, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what they are. They have not a lot of crazy like new abilities or combinations. There's 2 heroes in particular that I think are interesting. I don't remember their names, but one has a pathfinding specialty, and the other has a shield spell specialty. So we'll take a look at those 2 heroes in a little bit. But to give you an idea of what the town looks like, here we go. We've got their castle here. This is their build paths. I went ahead and just upgraded everything so we could see all their units. There's 2 specialized buildings, actually 3 specialized buildings here that are different than others. One being the hay bins. The hay bins increase your war mammoth production by 1 per week. And that's interesting because it's their tier 6 unit. There's no other faction that can get a +1 to their tier 6 unit, aside from the citadels and castle upgrades. The other, which I thought was pretty cool, is the fair. The fair improves the market rate of marketplaces. So if you have a marketplace, which I have to find here, this is the marketplace, it'll increase this as if there was a second marketplace or 1 more marketplace than what you currently have, which is actually really nice. So if you have, let's say we're playing a game of Jeebus Cross, you start Bulwark, you get both towns, but you don't find your trading post, you can increase that to get basically trading post level trades, which is very useful. And the other one to touch on is the Altar of Runes. So with the Altar of Runes, they've added a new secondary skill to the game. And this is something that only the Bulwark faction can get. Perhaps other factions can if they get it from like a scholar or like a witch hut or something. But if you try to use this with any other hero, they say that you can't. It's only for the locals, and that'll add a secondary skill to the hero, which we'll go over shortly as well. It's an interesting new mechanic. So first things first, I'm gonna go over the new creatures. We've got kobolds are your tier 1 units. Now they are they're an interesting unit. They're insanely slow, speed 3, right? But they have a cool ability, which is generating 1 gold a day. So, you know, eventually they'll pay for themselves. Not so much in a Jeeps Cross game where they're, you know, we usually only play a little bit into week 2. So, but in other types of games where you're going into week 3, week 4, month 2, things like that, getting a good stack of these guys to generate gold every day, that's pretty cool. Their stats, though, on the other hand, they're pretty weak. 3 attack, 4 defense. So again, this faction is kind of based on defensive units. So slightly higher defense, damage 1 to 2, pretty weak. But this is the interesting part. They get 8 health, which is comparable to, I believe, gnolls and pikemen, versus like the gremlins and halflings and imps. Even like imps have 5. So it's like, okay, so they've got this massive health pool. So that's interesting. When you upgrade them, they increase their stats quite significantly. 2 attack, 2 defense, and the speed goes up by 2. So feels like it's very worth the upgrade to upgrade these guys. You don't get any more gold generated, but the speed is going to be nice. So yeah, between a speed 3 unit, which is on par with things like dwarves and dendroids and Walking Dead, you do not want these guys in your army. You want to upgrade them pretty well immediately, it feels like. But that comes to the second unit of them here. So let's actually come over here into the castle, just kind of see this. We've got the mountain rams and the argali. So the mountain rams are your tier 2 unit, and these things, they have no special ability, but they've got good attack defense, they do okay damage, and they've got a whopping 18 health. That's on par with some tier 3s. They also have a speed of 7. So these things are just like walking beat sticks. You want these could be the team, like the starting choice for the Bulwark faction. It feels like this is what you want your power stack to be when you upgrade them. They get, so I don't think, yeah, they get 1 extra attack and 1 extra speed, but they get a neat ability. So they're now immune to ice, so you can't ice bolt them, you can't frost ring them. But adjacent enemies receive 20% more spell damage. So these would be very neat in a final battle or something where you have a implosion and doing 20% more damage to things next to this. That's pretty cool. So these in as tier 2 units, like you'd compare them probably to gargoyles. These blow gargoyles out of the water. So there's that. The third unit is the elves, the snow elves, steel elves. So I guess you could compare them to elves and grand elves, but I'd almost compare them to pirates over top of elves, because you're looking at something that also only has 4 shots. They have no melee penalties, which is good, so they can stab just fine. No melee penalty there. Their stats are pretty decent again on the higher end for attack and defense. 21 health is still pretty good, and their speed is okay. But 4 shots really limits their usefulness. Steel elves are again really neat, and they've got the sharpshooter ability of can shoot while adjacent to enemy creatures. So, or bow the sharpshooter, I should say. They get extra defense, so you know that's okay, I guess. And they double their shots from 4 to 8. However, their health goes up, which is an interesting choice as well, right? So everything seems like it gets just more defensive as they get upgraded. 1 extra speed T. So they're not slow by any means. So having a speed 7 shooter is very nice. If you start the shooter hero, you probably want to upgrade these like you would Randel's pretty quickly. Next we have the Yetis and the Yeti Rune Masters. The Yetis are similar in feel to ogres. Yeah, that's about it. They kind of feel like that. They like to walk up and hit things. They're slightly faster than ogres. They have a little bit more health, and their upgrade only gets them 1 defense and 5 health and a speed. But they've got a pretty neat ability as well. They recover from negative effects in 1 round, so if you slow them, they're only slowed for 1 turn, no matter what. Same thing like cursed, blinded, anything like that. And then the upgraded version possess runes. So even if your hero doesn't possess the skill for runes, these guys have it. So they will get that benefit. And I'll go over the runes after this. Then we have the Shaman Veins. So we have Shamans and Great Shamans. This is your tier 5 shooter. So on par with like Zealots, Magi, things like that. Not as fragile as them, it feels like. So, and they have 12 shots and 24 shots as the upgraded. They can cast Air Shield. Like there's nothing really great about these, but nothing that's like outstanding or they're fine. The upgraded version can cast Freezing Shot, so a chance to do basically a petrify effect, such as Medusas and things like that. Cool. It's something. These guys don't wow me in any way. Actually, I should say a lot of the faction stuff doesn't really wow me in a big way at all. However, other than like the Argali and the Mountain Rams, like they seem like that's what you want for a power stack in your early game. And then we come to the Mammoths. These guys have so much health, 120 health, on par with your Dreadnoughts? No, not Dreadnoughts. Black Knights, Dread Knights, and the Queens. Actually, more than Naga Queens. It's 110. Their defense is through the roof. They're a little slow, but these things, they don't die easy. The upgrade, however, is insane. So you want to go for the War Mammoths because you don't get too much in the way of attack and defense, like 2 to each, 14 to 20. You get 15 more health, so you now have the most health out of any tier 6 unit. And actually, is it as much as like a Bone Dragon? That's a little insane. I should probably pull up like the stats of other other creatures. Like, these things are tanky. They have a speed 6, so they're not completely dead to the water in slowness, but this is one neat ability. They get plus 100% defense when they choose the defensive stance. So when you're in a battle and you choose to defend, they double their defense. So from 18 to 36, just like that on their own. However, this also takes into consideration the hero's defense. So if your hero has like has a shield, has good defense already, let's say they have 10 defense naturally, plus 6 more from the shield, so they have 16 defense. You add this together, so they're at 34 defense. You hit defend on these guys, they're at 68 defense, just like that. Well, plus the bonuses from hitting defend. So basically you're at around 70 defense. Guess how much damage they take? Literally none. It's insane. Or it seems insane. So, good unit. And it's a cool ability that there's not anything else like that. And one of the big things about it too is the tie-in to the rune system. These guys will do that very well. And then finally, we get our Jotuns and our Jotun warlords. I'm used to pronouncing them as Jotun from just other various media and things. They could be Jotuns, so I don't know the exact way they want to pronounce them, so I'll probably just do Jotun. These guys are also, pretty... I would say they're comparable to giants in terms of strength. A little bit tanky, like they've got a little bit more health, 1 extra speed, and a little bit better stats. So they're slightly better than giants. However, their damage roll isn't as stacked because the giants are 40-60. So, but they're a little bit faster. But they get 2 neat abilities. The first one being they can teleport allies around the combat field. And what that means is it's just like using the teleport spell. You can teleport your war mammoths onto their flyers when they go. Or onto their shooters when they go. On top of that, they reduce enemy flying unit speed by 1. So that's cool already. That's another neat ability. Reducing enemy speed? Like, that's something we haven't seen before. So, very neat. Their upgrade, however, is pretty cool. So this, like, the teleport is once per combat. Now we get into unlimited amounts of times. Teleport people, all of that. Very cool. Their stats increase a little bit, 20-20. They get 300 health, so right up there with Titans. Speed of 10, pretty good. Their damage doesn't change though. And they also get to do -2 to enemy flying unit speed, so there we go. So all in all, the units themselves are pretty neat. I don't feel like there's anything like too groundbreaking with them. Nothing that I wouldn't be like, oh, that's outright broken, or things that I just don't like. For example, like the automatons in Factory, where they just explode and kill everything. Or Olga High, the sandworms that devour corpses and can hit you so many times. Things like that. There's a lot of there's been some disparity in that way. there's no weird like gimmick, there's no 8th unit, things like that. There's no double upgrade for something. It's just, this feels like a pretty regular faction. So I'm quite happy with that. Defensive side, defensive base versus offensive or things like that. Higher knowledge than spell power on their heroes. So it's pretty neat. So it looks like, in the terms of their strengths compared to other factions in JC, I'd probably put these guys right smack in the middle. I feel like their power level is kind of there, but I won't know until we actually start playing games with them. So, do I think these would be better than Inferno, Stronghold, or Factory? Yeah? With a question mark? Do I think they're as strong as Fortress? No. I don't think they're as strong as Fortress at all. So, like, I think this would be the most comparable to Fortress in terms of like their unit strengths, because their unit strengths are very defensive. But I feel like the Fortress troops themselves and the way they can do hives so quick. You might be able to do hives with like the mountain rams and stuff, but I don't know yet. So that's right now. So the other thing I want to talk about are these runes and this power here. So, and we'll get into a combat here, just a quick easy one, just so that we see it in action. But basically, you can accumulate 3 rune levels, and then as this goes up, it goes 6, and then expert, it's 9. And each time you get to your first one, that unit gets +2 attack, then it gets +2 defense, and then it gets +1 speed, and then it cycles back. So you get +2 attack for +4, +2 defense for +4, +1 speed for +2, etc. All the way up to basically having a 6/6/3 stats. And you get that from doing several things in combat, either from attacking, from taking damage, or by taking the defensive stance, which is why I think it's really big for these mammoths. Because if you take the upgraded mammoths, not only do you get to double their defense that they would normally have, you also get to take that rune with extra defense and double that too. So they can get very, very tanky here. So let's just go, I just want to go fight something really quick just to kind of show. So you see that we had like a rune animation here, and we're starting with the Jotun, so they can just teleport them over there. But if we'll wait our turn. So if we defend, you'll see they get 3 runes for that. Now they get that +1 speed, +2 attack, or +1 attack, or yeah, +2 attack, +2 defense. If we attack, they got 2 rune levels, so they just get the pluses to their attack and defense. And then if they take damage, and so forth. So that's kind of what that is. Which is a neat mechanic. So I don't mind this so much. Like, I'd be opposed to it more if it was just a thing that the heroes just get, or like the units have, or something like that. But the fact that you have to take a secondary skill for it, so that could delay your earth magic, that could delay your armor, that could delay your tactics, or however you're going through. So it's a choice, because you only get the benefits if you get the secondary skill. If you don't have it, so for example, we take this hero out who does not have that. Let's go fight these guys. Other than the Yetis, because they always get it. if we defend, no runes. So it's not anything crazy here, right? We're just gonna finish with a quick combat there. Sure, whatever. The only other thing I want to go over too is the new thing that they added. So obviously they're in snow terrain. We're just gonna get full speed here. They added these little trapper lodges, so I imagine that these are going to be on all snow terrain, so including terrain, starting terrain for tower. And when you go here, you get a chance of getting either gold or let's see if we no, not ore, sorry, gold. You have a chance to get some gremlins, or you have a chance to get some kobolds, which is kind of neat. It's just like 5. So they could be worth it. If you say no to that, you can still come back and get them. Yeah, that's actually really neat. You might not want them right away because they're going to make you slow, but on your way back, you might want to grab them, type of thing. Beyond that, they didn't really add anything else to the maps that we'll be worried about, or artifacts or things like that. So not a lot of like crazy balances or anything like that. So. And with that, oh yeah, the other thing we want to go over is the resource silo is 1 wood, 1 ore. So that's fine. They're like castle and stuff. Nothing crazy. But their Grail building, the Spirits of the Forebears, looks really cool. So along with the creature generation and the 5,000 gold, it increases your defense strength of a garrison hero when defending the siege by plus 20. So this is... there's 3 of them like this now. So there's Stronghold, which will give you plus 20 attack. There's Fortress, which will give you plus 10 attack, plus 10 defense. And now there's Bulwark, which will give you plus 20 defense. So where is it in line of Grail buildings? It's okay. It's not like factories, where if you get the factory one, it does like a lightning bolt every turn for you in combat, which is insane. Not like towers, which will reveal the entire map. So, you know, there's some good Grail buildings, and then there are not. This one is mediocre. So, there we go. So that's the overview here, and then we're just going to get into a new game, because I just want to go over map, just the heroes you can choose. So if we choose Bulwark here, so we've got our chieftains, who are your defense specialists, and then we have your elders, which come in with knowledge. So we have Duin, basic archery, pathfinding. They come in with a specialty of snow elves. So again, nothing we haven't really seen before. Very similar to Ivor, but starts with pathfind instead of offense. I think Ivor would be a better hero, just due to the fact that I think the elves and grand elves are better at what they do from first glance. Boydana is a chieftain, specialty with diplomacy, so which is neat. Not really too relevant in Jeeva's Cross, but in other templates where you're getting a lot more money, spending more time, could be really cool. Nea, who gets advanced archery, specialty archery, so very similar to Orin. Eichthurn, who gets armor, logistics, and this is probably the hero I might start if I get this faction, because they start with the Rams, and I think the Rams are what you might want to start with this faction. I don't really know yet. I don't know what the meta is yet. I haven't watched anybody play as this faction yet or anything, and I'm doing this a little late because, you know, winter holidays and so forth. So I'm coming to this a little late. I don't know what people are taking. Honestly, when you first look at it, you might want to go do-in because you can start with, hey, ranged units, because that's what people are used to. But this guy could be good. Grail. It starts with advanced armor, specialty mammoths, could also be good for later down. Spatum, pathfinding leadership, doesn't look that great. Kiner starts with estates and tactics, but specialty of kobolds, and this could be another hero that you might want to start with too, because you're going to start with a lot of kobolds, you know, similar to your imps and things like that. Actually, how much does like Ignatius start with? 20 to 30 as well. So very similar to an Ignatius start, you upgrade these guys right away. They're speed 5, so they're still slow 6 on terrain, right? But you have tactics. You could mess around with that a bit. That's something I would like to try, maybe Kiner or Eichthorn as the starting heroes. And then you have this guy, Ergon, who has a specialty no one else in the game has, and that specialty is pathfinding. And to be very honest, it's not that exciting, because it doesn't scale with level. You just get an additional 5% reduction. Which, sure, will save you a couple steps, and especially with how pathfinding works now in HOTA, where pathfinding can give you extra steps in on terrain rather than roads, so it's okay. I wouldn't say it's anything great, but good. I think he's a good scout hero. Then we have for our elders, we've got Kriv, who's advanced wisdom, shamans, view earth, or view air. Seems like an odd choice to give him advanced wisdom, but view air. So there's that. Then we get Glacius, who's interesting. He's a wisdom learning hero with the specialty of frost ring. So like Adela or Adelaide. So very, very similar here, only instead of advanced wisdom learning, right? But he only starts with 1 power, so you need to scale his power. So it could be an interesting hero to try for starting as well. There's Cial, who's the Ice Bolt specialist. I'd say very similar to Zif, who's the Lightning Bolt specialist here. So Dalton, who has the specialty of Shield. Now this looks interesting too. So now you get an effect of the shield is increased by 10% for every X hero levels, or X is the level of the target creature. So you could scale the shield percentage quite heavily, especially on your your low tier units like your kobolds, where you increase it by, you know, or on your big creatures, I should say. So that looks like it could be very, very interesting to try. So there's like 3 heroes I want to try, but I'd probably try Eichthorn first. There's Biarma, who's your first aid specialist. Okay. Akka, who comes in with the Bloodlust specialty. We've seen that before as well. Very nice. Mysticism is good, though. You have your specialty for your 350 gold. Eagle Eye, woo. And then finally your sorcerer specialty. So I don't think any of the heroes are really like game breaking, Dalton could be really good, or maybe I'm not thinking about it too much and maybe the specialty for shield isn't that great, but it feels like it could be really good. You just need to pump up his defense too, and then it really comes out. And it's interesting because he's a magic user, but he starts with armor. So you know that you're getting some value with that extra shield. So between him, Cairn, and Eichthorn, I think those would be the 3 starting heroes I would probably choose. Maybe possibly Duin as well, just for that. Okay, how do we play this? Here's your range guys to play to start with. So where do I think it? I feel like it's on the power level. I feel like it's mid, maybe on the lower end of that. So do I think it's better than like your Stronghold, Cove, Factory, Inferno? Maybe. From the first looks of it, I think so. Is it as strong as Rampart, Fortress, Tower, Conflux? Maybe not. Maybe as powerful as Conflux. Conflux is an interesting beast though, because their specialties almost lie into their heroes rather than the faction itself. And it's definitely not as good as Dungeon, Necro, Castle, or even Tower. So I'd put it above like your Stronghold, Inferno for sure. Over Cove, I don't know. So, but there we go. So that's the new Bulwark faction. Yeah, hope you enjoy this video. Don't exactly do these ever, but I thought it would be kind of neat since they just dropped this faction in here. And they'll give a bit of an overview before, you know, we get into a game that we might be playing it, but also because I play, you know, only a couple times a week, I might not get a Bulwark game for a while. So here's my thoughts on it so far. And as we play more games too, we'll see the units in game as well when we're fighting them. How do we deal with that? So there we go. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoy. We'll see you next time.